Hello viewers, welcome to my channel. If it's the first time of seeing me, I'm your regular host, Emeka the Chief Priest, also known as Mahazi Emeka. On this channel, I discuss spiritual tips and I help people live a spiritual active life. Today, I want to talk about Aja Karere. Aja, Aja Karere. What does it mean in English language? I'm making this video because of some of our Igbos that are living in the diaspora that may not hear Igbo language, but they're actually Igbos. So that is why I'm making this video. And then I also have viewers that are mostly not Igbos, but actually want to practice African spirituality because I see it as an African spirituality, not actually an Igbo, that's a concentrated Igbo spirituality, but something that has to do with African culture because Africa must stand as one. We must come together. We are one blood, we are one family as a whole. So wherever you're watching me, whether you're watching me outside Africa, whether you're watching me in Africa, whether you're from Tanzania, from Rwanda, from Burundi, I have people calling me from Tanzania. I have viewers from Malawi. I have viewers from Cape Verde. You can see how viral we're going. I have viewers from almost part of all African states. So I welcome you all on this journey, this spiritual journey that all of us were in. I urge you all to be patient that sometimes I am not having time to shoot videos. I have physical work. I have some other things to attend to physically. Pick of the day, Echwaja Karere. Why do I emphasize more on Aja? Aja is sacrifice. It's so unfortunate that whenever we talk about sacrifice, most people's mind is tilted towards those things they watch in the movies. You know, our movie makers have made our African culture to look so diabolical, the way they present us to the world. They make people to be suspecting us as if we're all diabolical people. They see us as people that are fetish, that we're practicing one diabolism or the other. And that is not true. That is why that we have mouth, we have to speak for ourselves and say, this narrative is wrong. We have to prove them wrong. That some of the narratives that they're pushing out there is wrong. That African culture is not about diabolism. It's not about occult practices. African culture is about the origin of life. And that is why when we're teaching about this, most of this borrowed culture that some of our people are practicing, we want to tell them that there's no life in anything that is borrowed. That anything that is within, anything that is anything that is rooted in your DNA will remain with you forever. That you cannot pretend that this is not who you are. And I'm very happy today that so many Africans are coming back to themselves. Those ones that have whether they are in Haiti, whether they are in those ones of the Kosher tribe, the Haitian tribe, the people that are from Dahomey, all these people are all Africans. As long as you are colored, as long as you're black skin, as long as you're black, you belong to Africa. And Africa is vast. Even though we're scattered all over the world, we still represent one race, the African race. So that is why anywhere you are, do not forget yourself. I know some of you that have gone outside Africa to search for greener pastures. Some of you are seeing money. Some of you have forgotten where you come from. But there's nothing as sweet as home. Home is where you belong to. So wherever you're watching this video, I urge you all to always continue watching our videos and partake. You can drop your comment. Whatever you don't understand that I'm saying that looks ambiguous or look very confusing, you can drop a comment. I'm always checking on people's comments. I see them as feedback. Okay. Today we're talking about Echwaja Karere. When we talk about sacrifice, most people's mind is tilted towards what they usually watch in the movies. And because of those narratives that presented there, they made everything about sacrifice look so diabolical. Like they believe that anything African tradition or African spirituality is about, is about occult practice or is about diabolism, and which is not true. They see us as voodoo, people that are practicing voodoo or dark magic or black magic, whatever name you want to call it, and that is not true. That is why the current herbalists and DBS today were coming out to tell people that those narratives are wrong, that this is something that our forefathers have been doing a long time ago before the advent of modern religions, that these things are not actually pervasive the way people have presented them. They're not actually corrupted, or they're not actually diabolical the way they have been presented to the public, especially the things that they have shown in our movies, in our African movies. We're trying to correct those notions and say these things are wrong. I want to teach you about sacrifice. When we mention sacrifice, I'm not talking about human sacrifice here. All those things that has to do with occult practices, I have no hand in them. I have nothing to do with them, and I can't talk about them because they are not African culture. In African culture, our ancestors know about sacredness of the land, and the land will know, be the sacred space, is a place that doesn't tolerate or condone abominable acts, because abominable act is something that is abominable. Abominable act means something that is abomination. What is abomination? A taboo, something that brings sacrilege, something that brings backwardness, something that brings retardedness in an environment. That's what we call abominable act. Our ancestors are very wise. Back in the olden days, the reason why we usually do sacrifices is because we use it to appease the land. Let me tell you something about this land. You know, the land we're stepping on, many people were buried in it. In fact, that place you called your acquired property or landed property, you don't know whether that place was a burial ground in the olden days. I remember in the olden days when wars were fought, there are places that people were buried that we know them as stick bush or abandoned forests. Today, those forests has been converted into spaces to build houses. Because of because of civilization and modernity, most of our forests have now been turned into living spaces. Before, those places were forests. They were forested areas where only trees and shrubs were found. But today, you see that because of overpopulation, most forests now are becoming living spaces. People are buying them and cutting down the trees. Now, what I'm trying to say is that in the olden days, some of those places where you see as forests were places where they usually bury people. They usually throw corpses, maybe people that died during the wartime, people that were killed mysteriously. Now, the reason why our ancestors usually perform blood sacrifice, animal blood sacrifice, is because they use it to appease whoever that was buried there. Let me tell you something about human soul. If a human being dies and was not buried properly, the soul will keep tormenting the occupant or inhabitant of that land. So whenever we use that, whenever we do anything sacrifice, especially I'm talking about animal blood sacrifice, we use it to appease whatever spirit that is angry with the occupant or the inhabitant of the land. That's how that one came into being. Then, secondly, there are other forms of sacrifices that we do that are bloodless. Like you talk about giving alms, we talk about using there's some sacrifices that we use food items to perform. There are ones we use fruits. There are the ones you use so many things that you can use. Sometimes you can even give out money. Sometimes you can give alms. Sometimes sacrifice may come in form of helping those people that are below you, people that are less privileged, people that are downtrodden. The moment you are helping them, that's another form of sacrifice. So when we talk about sacrifice, it's not always related to those things you watch in the movies where you see people wearing red clothes, carrying calabash, and then doing some chanting and all that. Those things are not the what I'm talking about. Those things are actually occultic practices. They have nothing to do with African culture. They have nothing to do with Nadibu spirituality. In Nadibu spirituality, what we use for sacrifices are animals. We can use The reason why we use animals is because lower animals like the chicken, the bird, you know, they are their spirit is not something that will come to haunt you at the end of the day. They have no repercussion whenever you use them. But anything that involves human blood or bloodletting of any human being, it is a sacrilege. It is not allowed. Whoever that is involved in doing that is creating problem for he or herself, and the land will definitely fish them out one day. Whoever that is involved in killing any human being will never go unpunished. That person will never go unpunished because the land will never tolerate any bloodletting of any human being, because the human blood is very sacred. The human blood cannot be shed anyhow. That's why I said even if someone is killed and the person is not buried properly, no matter how many years it takes, one day the real truth about the person's death will definitely come out. So that is why I told you that the human blood is very sacred, cannot be shed anyhow, cannot be spilled anyhow. Somebody will ask me, what about the extremists, religious extremists, and marauders and all that? Those ones, even if you look at them, on a normal day, they were not in their senses doing that. Probably somebody bought them and asked them to go about doing those abominable acts. But on a normal day, those people in their right senses will not be able to carry out those kind of acts because it's not easy. It's not ethical for you to do such a thing. So those people, either they are under the influence of narcotics or hard substances, or they're being influenced by the religious extremists. But then they know inside their hearts that they are on the wrong path. And one day they will pay for all that they did, because the law of karma is real. No matter how long it takes, what goes around will definitely revolve around and come back to the culprits. So what I'm trying to say here in summary of this video, because I don't want this video to be long, is that sacrifice is better than charms. Most people are actually approaching, when they come to us, the DBS, their main aim of coming to us is they want us to concoct one charm to give them, either to make money or for them to protect themselves and all that. But I'm telling you, there's nothing as powerful as sacrifice. Sacrifice is better than charms. Charms is something that is immediate, and charms is not something that should be done by everybody. Charms should be done by a DBS discretion for a particular purpose, and it's not something that you market or sell to the public. That is why we discourage people from involving themselves in charms making. Some people, maybe you have a spiritual or a karmic debt you're supposed to settle, yet you're looking for charms to cover it up. No matter the kind of charms you perform, it will still not be able to fulfill, it will still not be able to pay up those karmic debts. But you see, sacrifice is better 10 times, 100 times better. And why do I say sacrifice? Sacrifice is like you feeding yourself daily, feeding yourself monthly, feeding yourself yearly. You can never get tired of feeding yourself. Why? Because it is part of you. So as you're eating, that's the way spirits are also expecting you to also give them their own. That is one thing with sacrifice. You give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So sacrifice is paying, it's like paying your debts, it's like paying your tax. No matter who you are in this country, you cannot say you cannot pay. You will not pay your tax. No matter how highly placed you are, you must pay your tax. That's the way it is with sacrifice. So if you understand this video, If you watch this video and understand this video, you agree with me. But if you don't understand, that means you need more detailed information about what I said. As regards to sacrifice, there are many ways you can be able to sacrifice, and it will go a long way. Sacrifice is not actually only when you do animal blood sacrifice. There are other forms of sacrifice that I mentioned earlier in this video. Example, you devoted yourself that every month you'll be giving out a token for the upkeep of the temple. That's sacrifice. You can do sacrifices by making sure something leaves your pocket. I stand to be corrected. All these wealthy people you see in our society, there is none that doesn't have a charitable organization where they spend at least 10% of their earning giving it out to people. Do you know what they're doing that? They're doing it so that their life will be prolonged. That's one thing that sacrifice does for you. For those people that are looking for longevity, that's another way you can be able to live long on earth. Sacrifice. It's not something to toy with. Most of these wealthy people you see in our society, a lot of them have charitable organizations where they give out a token of their earning to make sure that money goes out to either taking care of people's hospital bills, taking care of people that are downtrodden, people that don't have the means to feed themselves, making sure the aged are being taken care of, making sure that people that are looking for job opportunities were able to access, funds or loans or grants. You understand? So this is how where these monies are going. I think the latest I heard is one of these wealthy person in the world today saying that he wants to give out 90% of his earnings to charitable causes, and this is how you can be able to keep prolonging, having that longevity you're looking for to. Make sure something leaves your pocket and every month. Make sure something leaves your pocket every month. Like here, we usually do a group spiritual sacrifice. End of the month, we congregate our forces and do something for them, and any other thing that comes probably from the donations that people made, we'll make sure it goes out to the elderly in my society. I make sure I use it to support them. Some of them, their children are now even doing something tangible. I use that money to support them. I usually help to support kids in school. Some of those miscellaneous items they ask them to bring, we support them. We support people that are in the hospital, because there are some people that they needed funds, hospital bills. We go to help them to fund those bills, for them to be free from the hospital management. There are so many ways we make sure these monies that are coming into our pocket does not stay with us. It goes to people at the end of the day. So that is the way that, and those people, they are always praying for you when you do something of that such. So those people are actually praying for you, that God will bless you, that wherever you remove this money, you will never lack. It's all the Africans in the diaspora. We're looking up to them, the Africans in the diaspora, to make sure that something from them comes back home. Something from you should come back home. And we use whatever you're sending here to make sure we make sure you use it to better the lots of people around, so that they can feel your impact out there. We know that you're useful wherever you are, that you have not forgotten home. We know together we'll be able to build the African of our dreams. So that is why I'm making this video. Make sure you are always involved in any form of giving or sacrifices, because I see sacrifice as a form of giving something that you find so dearly to you, something that you find so dearly, giving part of it to people. You can decide you could be giving it monthly, you can decide to be giving it weekly, depends on your earnings there. And you'll be seeing how things will be moving for you, whether you're looking for promotion, whether you're looking for anything you're looking for. You'll be seeing changes the moment you are letting go of something from you into someone's hand. So, just in case you want to partake in some of the things we do here in the temple, you can chat me on WhatsApp. My WhatsApp number is 09040113281. And then, in case you want to do Alpha consultation, I run an Alpha consultation service. In Alpha consultation, we'll be able to unveil those things that are difficult to understand by the logical brain. We'll be able to unveil those things that you find difficult, whether you're seeing them through your dreams, whether you're seeing them through some certain things happening mysteriously around you. Alpha will be able to check it out for you and know where that those things are coming from. So today's topic, I think we've trashed it, and then we'll be moving on to the next topic. Thank you for standing by, and thank you for watching this video. Till we see you in the next video. Yagazi.